Am I the asshole for telling my vegan friend I don't want to come over for Thanksgiving dinner? I, 54 female, have a friend, 55 female, who went vegan 10 years ago. We've been friends 20 years or more. We have a large group of friends 15-20 and there are a few of us that switch off cooking dinner on Thanksgiving for whoever is in town. Since Anne went vegan, we've always accommodated her dietary restrictions with at the very least some tofurkey, one side dish and one dessert being strictly vegan. This year Anne jumped in early and for the first time ever said she wanted to cook Thanksgiving this year. Not a problem, until she informed us in the group chat dinner will be 100% vegan. Some of us offered to bring more omnivore offerings, including a turkey, and she insisted we eat vegan while at her house. She declared that vegan food tastes exactly the same as omnivore food. It does not. I've been to her house and choked down bean burgers and chocolate cake and probably a dozen other meals, each of which she insisted tasted just like the real thing. She even tried to fool me once with a Beyond Burger, insisting his was a regular hamburger. I have only found a limited number of vegan dishes I enjoy and none of them have ever been made by her. After thinking it over and discussing it with my husband, we decided to privately tell her we were bowing out of dinner on Thanksgiving this year. I told her I wanted turkey, mashed potatoes, pumpkin pie that were made with traditional ingredients. I could have lied and said we had plans to travel to see family, but I don't want lie. Anne has become angrier and angrier with me since I told her this about a week ago. Then she went and complained to some of the women in our group about me refusing to attend just because she's cooking. Which is sort of true but still made me angry. So I ended explaining to the other ladies that we all very considerately make vegan dishes just for her at every party and get together any of us throw, and it's really unreasonable for her to insist that I strictly adhere to her dietary choices when I have never demanded the same from her. So that blew up because all the ladies have now jumped to my way of thinking and decided they will have Thanksgiving at one of their houses instead. We will not be attending their Thanksgiving either. My husband says we probably should have lied about going out of town, or at the very least I should have not explained my reasoning to the other ladies. I've decided to stay out of it from here on out, but somehow Anna blames me for the whole debacle. Am I the asshole for declining to attend at a vegan Thanksgiving? Pescatarian here. I am pro-food choice. There are plenty of vegetarian, vegan dishes that are lovely by themselves. The ones that almost always suck are the ones that are pretending to be something else. Plain food dress up on a holiday defined by the food served will go poorly. Not the asshole. Staying out of this now is a good strategy. You didn't do anything wrong. You told your friend you would not be attending, giving her more than ample notice, instead of just not showing up. You asked if non-vegan food could be available and she said no. That could cause problems for people like me because soy products are off my list as well as bread and other fillers. Honestly, I don't want just salad for my Thanksgiving meal. You didn't encourage anyone else to back out, you were honest when they asked. This doesn't have to be a debacle. Anne turned it into that all by herself. Not the asshole. If she was fine with people not coming, would be NaH-like, I don't see anything inherently wrong with her cooking only vegan fare, but you can't turn around and be upset with people not wanting that. Like, she doesn't get to force everyone to be vegan or they're a bad person, lol. Not the asshole, and she needs to be careful about slipping people food and lying about what it is. Beyond Burger contains pea protein, which could send people with severe nut allergies directly to the hospital. Frequently, if people are allergic to nuts, they are also allergic to peas. My favorite part of this story is the, "I've stirred the pot enough and now I'm going to step back and watch it bubble over" ending. ETA. Not the asshole. I am pescatarian, but I don't care what anyone says. Thanksgiving is about the traditional turkey and all the fixings. Not the asshole. Most people who say vegan, non-vegan stuff tastes the same are themselves a vegan. You almost never hear a non-vegan say, "I can't tell the difference." We can confused face. For many, Tea Gives is the World Series of annual dinners. I get that Anne would like to host, but if she isn't even willing to allow others to bring non-vegan dishes, then she should expect that some people will not want to attend. Her house, her rules, but it is also up to the guest to decide if they would like to join. Invitation, not a summons. Pouting. Am I the asshole because my dirty coworker got fired after I stopped giving him a ride to work? So, I've been getting some flack at work because a well-liked coworker of ours got fired for repeated absences after I stopped giving him a ride to work. As background, I'm an active-duty military mid-level healthcare provider and he was an entry-level civilian contractor. We both worked at a large military hospital. Earlier this year, John, 20 male, who recently started working at the hospital, was asking around our department for people he could carpool with. Everyone gave various reasons why they couldn't help, and eventually I volunteered because he lived nearby and it wouldn't be out of my way to pick him up. I will preface this by noting John was very well liked in our department, with most of the older ladies adopting him as their work son, etc. He's also the youngest employee by almost a decade. This issue started about 1 month in, when I noticed every morning after I picked him up, he would bring various food products to eat on the drive to work. This didn't bother me at first, but as time went on he was leaving food trash and crumbs in my vehicle. I'm an extremely clean individual, so this bothered me and I said something. He continued eating and kept forgetting to clean after himself. I was getting tired of constantly reminding him to take his trash with him, and I started just throwing the trash away myself. After doing this a few times, I decided to just leave the trash and see if he would notice. He didn't. For weeks the empty water bottles, Red Bull cans, candy wrappers and empty containers started to pile up in by passenger door and floorboard, and stayed until I asked him politely, "Could you take that trash with you?" His response of, "Yeah, of course, I don't mind," made me feel like he thought it was mine and I was asking for a favor. There's more examples, but to keep things short, I gave him an ultimatum. He needed to clean up after himself and respect my car, or he would need to find another ride to work. Not even a week later, he was eating some type of meal with flaky crackers and it was spilling on his lap the entire ride to work. When we pulled into the parking garage, he dusted all the food crumbs from his lap onto my carpet. We left the car and went to work. After work, when I returned to my car, there were ants inside of my vehicle. I had enough, so I made up an excuse and told him I couldn't give him rides. He took it well and the rides stopped, but over the next few weeks, his tardiness started to pile up. His agency fired him in September. We are not privy to contractors' personnel issues, but everyone assumes he was fired for being chronically late. Fast forward to today, while on break, I overheard some folks saying he was fired because I stopped giving him a ride to work and that was selfish of me, etc. I never told anyone except him why I stopped, and I'm assuming he told them some half-baked truth, and because he was well liked, I know they believe him. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Firstly, you aren't obligated to give him lifts anyway, and he's a grown-ass man. Either he's responsible and gets to work on time, or he gets fired. Secondly, he's being disrespectful. Plain and simple. Is it his car? No. So he can listen to you and pick up the damn litter he leaves everywhere. Thirdly, everyone's giving you shit for not giving him lifts, but did they step in and help? No, they didn't. The hypocrites can be quiet. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Being blatantly disrespectful even after you confronted him is not cool. He was disrespecting your personal space, and I don't think it's selfish to want to make the issue stop by refusing rides. Was there a reason why he couldn't drive himself or use public transportation? Not that it matters, but if he really wanted the job he could have found other ways to get to work. It's not your fault he got fired, it's his fault for screwing up and disrespecting you and your space, then not being an adult and finding the resources he needed to get to work. Not the asshole. You're not entitled to give him a ride, and for a dude that is so well liked it's ridiculous no one else was willing to offer. But you said yourself he was well liked and will have to understand that there are probably quite a few people who will have taken his side over yours. I don't know what that means to you, but it's just the truth. Either you have to say you don't care or tell the truth. He wasn't respecting your property and you don't feel like it was your responsibility to be giving a favor to someone who couldn't respect your property. Not to mention calling them out for the blatant hypocrisy of talking behind your back while neither of them offered him rides either. Your mistake was allowing food at all. After that initial talk you should have told them that eating in your car was not allowed. The next time he shows up with food you should have told him that he couldn't get in the car unless he ditched it. That could have solved this issue. So if he is 20 and everyone at work is at least a decade older than him, that means you are at a minimum 30 years old. You have to learn how to set healthy boundaries. This kid walked all over you, and when you finally stood up for yourself, you still say you made up an excuse and told him I couldn't give him rides. You're not doing him or yourself a favor here. Having said all that, I'll vote not the asshole because the kid is old enough to have consequences for his selfish behavior. I just wish you'd been a good enough friend to be honest with him. Info. Before you gave John the ultimatum, had you told him no more eating in the car? Am I the asshole for not giving my mother my own birth certificate, SS card, and passport back? When I moved out of my mom's house, I took my birth certificate, social security card and passport. The passport I've had paid like $200 for. Recently I asked her if she had my high school diploma and if I could have it so I could get back into school. She said that she would look, but she got really mad that I had my own birth certificate, social security card and passport and said that they aren't mine legally. They are, and I told her that she says that I can get a copy but I can't have the originals and I need to give them back. I told her no, she's more than welcome to get a copy, but as for the originals, they are mine. She doesn't need them unless she's trying to do fraudulent stuff. I told her if she can get me a copy that's fine, but I will not pay for it. I heard it's a tricky process and I don't want to do that because I have the originals anyway. To sum it up, I ended up telling her I'm not going to give you my birth certificate, social security card and passport, especially the passport, since I paid for it, because she has no necessity or legal right to it. Not the asshole. You didn't say your age, but it sounds like you are an adult, in which case there is no reason why your mom would need any of those things, and there are plenty of reasons you should have them. If you want to travel, you will need your passport, etc. Not sure if she is trying to pull something shady or is just weird, but they belong to you and there's no reason that she should have them or needs them, or your diploma. If you're old enough to move out, those documents are yours to keep. Why does she want them so badly? Not the asshole. I ended up telling her I'm not going to give you my birth certificate, social security card and passport, especially the passport, since I paid for it, because she has no necessity or legal right to it. I'm guessing you are an adult. Your mom no longer has any right to your documents unless you want her to have them. Make sure you do a thorough credit check and see if she has opened any cards, accounts under your social security number. Good luck, op. Not the asshole. You are an adult now and need your original documents. Contact your high school for copies of your records. I find it really weird that your mother insists on having all of your original documents and trying to say that they don't belong to you. They do. Is there any chance she would be up to anything nefarious, like opening credit in your name? Or does she think you're too irresponsible to hold on to your own documents? You don't give your age, but your mom is absolutely wrong. Those documents are yours and under no circumstances should you return them. Is there a trusted adult you can talk to or a school counselor who can walk you through how to lock down your credit with all 3 credit bureaus? If you have any sort of bank account with your mom's name on it, I'd recommend withdrawing all of the money and getting a separate account. I know she's your mom, but that sounds sketchy as hell, and Reddit is rife with stories of parents stealing their children's identities to commit credit fraud. Do not give your mom the originals even if she gets a copy. Not the asshole. She got really mad that I had my own birth certificate, social security card and passport and said that they aren't mine legally. Weird hill for her to die on. She's 100% wrong, of course. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for donating packages I didn't order? Start of October, I came home to 3 large boxes with the same last name addressed to my house. I called my mom to confirm whether we were expecting anything from overseas relatives. When she confirmed we weren't expecting anything, she called the number provided on the packages. They stated they didn't want it and to do whatever I wanted with it and provided no information. The 3 boxes contained misc items like jars of spices and lots of packaged clothes. I wasn't a fan of the clothes, so after putting off the donation for 2 weeks, I dropped off the clothes at a donation box. Today, October 27th, my mom called asking if I still had the contents of the boxes, and my neighbor called her to say it was theirs and they wanted it back. I told her I either donated or tossed everything. During the evening at 9, I returned to my house to see a group of 7 people crowding my yard. They demanded to know what happened to their package and that I essentially stole their stuff. If I wasn't expecting a package, then I should have left it outside and I had no right to throw their stuff away. The situation was escalating and they were getting very aggressive. I showed them the shipping label that showed my address on the box, but their only concern was I stole their stuff. They threatened to give me 1 day to return their stuff or they would pursue legal action. I had called the cop at this point as they were causing a ruckus and yelling. When the cops arrived, they talked to us and our neighbor. That neighbor was accusing us of stealing the expensive jewelry in the boxes. The boxes had no such items and looked to be from a drop shipping company. In any case, I'm starting to question whether I am at fault. Our neighbor confirmed the phone number on the boxes was hers, but during the call, they said they wanted our address to pick up the stuff. Since they lied about the content of the boxes, I have little reason to believe in what they say. In hindsight, I could have done other things, but what's done is done. If this does happen again, then I know what to do. I talked to friends after this happened and they said if they were in their shoes they would also be upset if someone donated their items. Am I the asshole? Edit. I realize now the wording is unclear. The last name on the boxes is the same as mine, which is why I asked my mom if we were expecting anything from relatives. Thank you to everyone for informing me of the potential scam. I had no idea that was a common practice. Not the asshole. They used your address for some shady purposes. If this does happen again, then I know what to do. Don't give it to the neighbor. Don't allow them to use your address. You would share responsibility for their bullshit. There are a lot of shady reasons to use your address, ADN, no good ones. Storing it, sending it back, keeping it, donating it, all is fine. This could be anything from evasion of import taxes to using you as their drug drop-off or even stolen credit cards or some other fraud, or even establishing residency at your home. All of it would point to your home. If their activities were completely legal, they would use their own address. Not the asshole. They're running a con. Notice how they show no interest in discovering where you donated the packages, to see if they could recover the goods. No one sends packages to someone else's address unless it is part of a scam. Not the asshole guess you found who the scammers are in your neighborhood. Not the asshole made no sense for them to use your address. Sounds scam-ish to me. You made a good call and did right to call the police. I'd step it up and see about an order of protection or a no trespass against them so they can't come onto your property again. I would just took packages to past office with my marking, returned to sender, and with visibly crossed out my address. Do it all the time with letters addresses to previous tenants.